Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, folks, this one's getting started a little bit late. I got stuck at work today.
Drink it up, people! All right, drink it up, gambler.
Yeah, you know how it is. Swinging that Kaiser blade. Anyway, the Vols have now moved into the top 5. They've just picked up 4 straight top 100 players. I'm very surprised by this. And I know the Vol Nation's got to be pumped. Let's see if I understand how things are going. Coming off that national title in baseball, we've won 20 games the last 2 years in football. And now we're in the top 5 in recruiting. I don't know about you, but I'm thinking we're back.
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Oh, yeah. Vols are back in business, baby. Let's get into what happened today. It's like every day I wake up, another top 100 player. This fella's name's Brame. He's a very highly recruited 4-star tight end. He was originally committed to Oregon. He has flipped his commitment to the Vols, and that's not easy to do. You got to realize Oregon's got that big money. I just think he saw playing time here, and he sees this offense and how the tight end gets utilized, and he thought, this would be a good fit for me. He's 6'5", 225. He's absolutely the ideal size because not only is he big enough to be an ideal target, and he runs great. He's very athletic. You don't get into the top 100 by accident. But on top of it, he's big enough to put on a few pounds and become a very important strategic blocker, whether that be for our quick run game or to move him a little bit outside and let him block for a receiver, because you know how much we love what Brame McCoy does, who's about that size, 225, kind of almost like a really fast linebacker out there. Brew is ideal for blocking outside. We love to throw that screen bubble pass and then have either the tight end or Brame McCoy block. And that can create all kinds of fantastic plays for us, especially as quickly as we do it. And now we got speakers in the headphones, so the coach can go ahead and call the play in like that, and we just go, man, we're going to be so fast. And defenses are going to hate that. It's almost impossible to keep up with us once we make a first down because we rush up to the line and we're gone. And you throw that bubble pass and all of a sudden a guy comes up too fast and you're buying, especially the way we like to throw it to our quickest dudes. And if you get a big tight end or a Brame McCoy type guy out there blocking, it can cause all kinds of havoc. So obviously Josh Heupel couldn't be happier about this. I'm sure George McIntyre played a role. He is kind of the Pied Piper for this 2025 class. Also, in, August 3rd, Faison Brandon, the #1 player in the country, #1 quarterback, is going to be committing. And it looks heavily like he's going to pick the Vols, which makes perfect sense. He's the perfect fit for the Tennessee offense. Very similar to Nico Iamaleava. He's a little bit shorter, a little bit faster, but another guy that would just be ideal. Kind of a Hendon Hooker 2.0, 3.0 type guy, and ranked a little bit higher, so that means he's got a little bit more of a high end. Same thing with Nico. You can see that Josh has just got the big-time 5-stars flocking in. The George McIntyre, Faison, who looks really good to be committing to us, Nico, and he picked up Jake Merklinger. I mean, it's just that quarterback room's getting full. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you Vols fans this. You need to understand. We're going to have some guys leave over time. There's just no way around it. There's only one football. And with the transfer portal the way it is, you can't just keep stacking 5-stars up. The best will earn the starting position. You'll probably be able to keep one really great backup. And then after that, there's other guys who are going to be like, I got to take my talents elsewhere. And I'm not going to blame them. We need to remember that. Don't be getting mad at somebody in about 12 or 24 months if one of them decides, hey, I'm third string, I got to go. That's just part of it, and happens to Georgia, Alabama. Look, all the biggest teams, they got to deal with that kind of crap. And as we look at recruiting, you can see Ohio State still at #1. Alabama, who I think will move into #1, is at 2. Georgia is kind of laying back. They could end up stealing #1 position. LSU looks really good. And here we are at #5. We were number 11 starting out the weekend, but when you pick up 2 top 100 guys over 2 days, you pop up, and that's exactly what we've done. Now we're 5th. Now I can tell you it's going to be super difficult for us to get any higher than that, and we might even fall back to 6th, 7th, or 8th. But my big move this year, I wanted to finish top 10 because last year I believe we finished 14th. Remember one very important thing. We have to give up like 2 scholarships a year for a while because of what Jeremy Pruitt did back in the day when he paid like $60,000 in Chick-fil-A bags to players back when that was not allowed. Nowadays, that would get you a backup punter, but we've still got that hanging over us. But I have some very good news for the Vols fans out there. Starting probably next year, we're going to be going from 85 scholarships to 105 in football. So giving up a couple of scholarships next year, that's nothing. Now, you won't have the walk-ons that you're used to having, which is a pain in the butt, but those walk-ons will now be getting a scholarship. So it's going to make it easier on a team like Tennessee that's got to give up some more scholarships over the years until we reach that 25 threshold, and we're getting pretty close. I'm not even sure if I wasn't the Vols, I wouldn't go ahead and go to 85 this year and then pull back 2 to 4 next year and just go ahead and knock it out, because then you're 101 and you're fine. So we'll be watching that very closely. But gosh, we've got new rules this year. You've got the timeouts, you got the 2-minute warnings, the speakers in the helmet, all that kind of stuff. A lot of new things happening this year, and of course the most important 12-team playoff, which is just fantastic. I'll tell you what, you've got to have the ingredients to make a great cake. The Vols are starting to get those really good ingredients. We're going to be able to start competing for national titles and getting in that playoff on a regular basis, especially with Josh Heupel as your head coach. You've got Danny White as AD. And another thing, I know how you feel. I mentioned Jeremy Pruitt, and that gets a lot of people upset. I'm going to know how it's going to get in the comment section.
Oh, how dare you bring up Jeremy Pruitt? I told you I don't ever want to hear his name again.
I understand. But without Jeremy Pruitt, you wouldn't have Josh Heupel. You wouldn't have Danny White. Think about that. You might ought to send Jeremy Pruitt a thank you letter. Anyway, to say that I'm surprised that we moved in the top 5 this weekend, I'm very surprised.
If I woke up tomorrow with my head sewn to the carpet, I wouldn't be more surprised than I am right now.
Yeah, I couldn't be more surprised. Cousin Eddie. Anyway, this is a video I was not expecting to do. I was actually going to take a day off from it, especially after working, but I couldn't help myself. I was fired up to see we made the top 5. That's just fantastic. So now I think we're pretty much guaranteed to finish top 10. Even if we have to hold off a couple of scholarships, we should finish top 10 very easily now. And look, David Sanders is still out there, and we're looking really good to pick him up.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
Here's the thing you got to remember. When you pick up 4 top 100 players in a row, those are the guys that win championships. These are guys that every single team would have loved to have commit to their team. There's not one of them that it was like, oh, well, maybe Alabama and Georgia wouldn't have taken that guy. They'd have taken them in a heartbeat. Don't you think for a second they wouldn't? We're in there competing with the big dogs now. And I told you about a year and a half ago, it's going to take a while to really build that relationship and get people to realize he's got a really good culture here. Now, a lot of people make fun of that. Oh, culture, we want to win. Culture is what gets you to winning. Anyway, it's just important to have that culture, and now you're starting to see it pay off because now the families are seeing, hey, you know what? That's a good place for my son to be. And they think about that heavily. It's not all about the money, let me assure you. Because you got to remember, they're thinking most of their kids are going to go to the NFL. And a lot of those guys right there, the 4 that we just got committed, they may very well end up in the NFL. And they're thinking way past their 3 years at a university. They're thinking, where can my son pick up great traits, great work ethic, and also stay out of trouble? Tennessee's a very good place to go for that. Josh Heupel doesn't fool around. You don't see him having the problems that a lot of other schools are having. Knock on wood, I hope we don't have those problems because they can certainly pop up. But so far, he's done a great job. Part of that is that Danny White knew the guy. He knew Josh Heupel when he came in as new AD and said, let me pick this guy. I know what I got with him. And I was down on that decision, and I regret it. I was bad wrong about that.
I was not exactly right.
That was a great decision. That's why I've been so in favor of whatever Danny White wants to do now. It seems like every decision he makes works out pretty darn good. So I'm going to continue to back him as long as he's making these types of decisions. You got to give the guy some credit. Anyway, I'm pumped. This is fantastic. This is way better than I expected in such a short period of time. You Vols fans need to be pumped. You just should. And we're not far away from a very important season. This is going to be the most exciting season ever. You mark my words, for the entire college landscape, there's going to be more excitement than we've ever seen because of that 12-team playoff. Anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's continue to cover all these big sports stories. If you've not subscribed, boom, 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 hit that little button. I'd appreciate it. And right over here is the most recent video. YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. We'll see you next time with Sports Talk Jay.